We are 1 minute out. I'm starting the recording now, and we currently have 25 attendees. So Angel, you can take it away whenever you would like to.
Thank you, Crystal. Give it 1 more minute. Okay, it is 10 o'clock, so I will go ahead and get started. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning for our Unified Government Hollywood Casino Grant Fund webinar informational session. I'm Angel Ferrara, Director for Unified Government Parks and Recreation, and also presenting this morning is Miss Sarah Forgy with Greater Kansas City Community Foundation. So this morning we'll be walking through an informational session describing the overview of the process for the Hollywood Casino Grant Program and be taking any questions you have at the end of this presentation as well. A little history of the Hollywood Casino Grant. The Board of Commissioners established a grant fund to improve the community health of Wyandotte County. And funding for this grant is made possible because of the annual contribution from the Hollywood Casino. Since 2013, the Hollywood Casino Fund has awarded over $6.7 million to nearly 150 nonprofits. And then Sarah, you can jump in from here.
Take it away. All right. Thank you, Angel. Again, I'm Sarah Forgy with the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation. We work to manage the grant process and then also to issue the checks and award information. I'm joined here today with my colleague, Jamie Musil, who will be answering questions online. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. And like Angel said, we'll also open up for questions at the end of the presentation. But how the grant process works, sort of high level, is annually there's a contribution made into a charitable fund by the Hollywood Casino. Nonprofits are invited to apply for grant funds, grant awards from that fund. Nonprofits must be serving Wyandotte County in order to apply, but do not necessarily need to be living or working located in Wyandotte County. Pardon me. The Greater Kansas City Community Foundation will review all the applications to ensure that they meet the basic qualifications, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. And then we pass those applications on to the mayor and the commissioners, who each get to review them and make their own award decisions. And then finally, those grant awards are distributed in the mail via check. And as a result of all of your hard work, Wyandotte County health and wellness improves throughout the community programs provided. Oh, there we go. All right, so who is eligible to apply for these funds? This is open to organizations that have been designated as 501c3 public charities by the IRS. Organizations that are not a public charity can work with an eligible organization as their fiscal sponsor. We'll talk a little bit about what that looks like on the next slide. But those that are ineligible are organizations that are not themselves a 501c3 public charity, unless of course they're working with a fiscal sponsor. Different units of local government, so that could be city, county programs, public schools, religious institutions, unless they have a 501c3 designation, neighborhood associations, unless of course they are also a 501c3 designation. And then any organization that has been designated a 501c3 but has lapsed for whatever reason. And if you have questions about your eligibility or any concerns about whether or not you may be eligible, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be providing our contact information at the end of this presentation. Okay, so a little bit about a fiscal sponsor. If your agency is not a 501c3 public charity, but you maybe partner with a public charity on different programs or projects, that partner nonprofit can be your fiscal sponsor, which means that they will actually receive the awarded grant funds if an award is made, and they will be responsible for managing those funds, distributing them to you in order to make sure that the project goes as it was proposed to the unified government. We do require a signed and dated letter between your organization and the nonprofit that's acting as the fiscal sponsor. That letter should include, the partnership, how it will play out over the course of the grant, that all parties are in agreement about what will happen. And then, of course, the grant check itself will be mailed and made payable to the fiscal sponsor. If you have any questions, or if you're working with a fiscal sponsor and they have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So these grants are meant for organizations and projects that will be benefiting Wyandotte County residents. Projects for programming that would not benefit Wyandotte County residents, or in which Wyandotte County is not the focus area, are not eligible for these grant funds. Part of the reporting requirements will be to provide the zip codes of all the clients served as a result of the awarded funds. So the types of projects that are not generally considered, capital campaigns, endowments, an annual fund drive that your organization might operate. Obviously, individuals themselves cannot apply to be recipients. It has to go through a nonprofit organization. Scholarships would be another item that's not considered as part of this grant process. Anything related to lobbying, anything related to a very specific member-based group. So think of things like the Elks or a particular athletic team. Most equipment expenses are not considered unless the equipment is necessary in order for the organization to provide and deliver its services. And general operating support requests are considered if the funding would significantly expand the services that the organization is able to provide. So projects that are highly prioritized for award are those that can leverage additional funding. So if receiving this grant award would allow you to maybe participate in a matching fund or attract additional donors, those are highly prioritized. Those that can demonstrate alignment with 2 Wyandotte County plans, and those are linked here. So that's going to be the comprehensive plan and the Healthy Communities Wyandotte plan. Those that include collaborative efforts. So if you're working with additional community partners, maybe providing or receiving referrals, please outline that in the application process. If you have clearly established measurable outcomes and the ability to report them, again, we will be asking for those zip code reports, but any other outcomes that you're able to track and report on, that is helpful if you can detail that in the application process itself. And then programs that are going to reach at-risk or underserved populations in the county. So a little bit about the grant amounts and the reporting. There's no restriction on the minimum or maximum size of the grant. So we encourage you to apply for what you deem is necessary for your program to be successful. Each commissioner and the mayor individually have a designated amount that they may allocate to the projects that they wish to support. We then total up all of those designations to get to the recommended award per organization. In 2023, those ultimate awards ranged from $500 to $27,000, with the average grant award around almost $7,000. And just to give you some perspective, we had just over 90 applicants last year, and there were approximately 65 projects that were funded. There are reporting requirements, as we have discussed. All projects are asked to complete an interim report in March of that should actually be 2025, so thinking of next year. And then a final report that would be due in July. We may change those dates next year when we get a little bit closer, but we'll of course let all awardees know. If you received a grant last year in 2023, please note that you have a report that is due in March of 2024. And we do provide those reports to the commissioners and the mayor to review as part of the application review process. So if you have any questions about returning those reports, please reach out to us. Okay, so what do we do at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation when it comes to the Hollywood Casino Fund? We provide technical assistance to applicants. So if you have any questions throughout the process, if anything doesn't seem to be working correctly in the online application, please reach out to us. Again, we'll share our email and phone number. We have a great team of folks, including Jamie, who's on the call today, who respond to all of those questions, can help you get logged in if you've been, permanently logged out. If you're not sure if your organization has an account on our grant system, they can let you know. If you have any questions about why something might not be working correctly, they can follow up with you. We review all the grant applications for basic eligibility. So again, ensuring that you do have that IRS designation as a 501c3 public charity. I did see a question come through. If you are considered a tax-exempt organization by the state of Kansas, is that the same thing? It is not. So it is actually a separate designation through the IRS to be a 501c3 public charity. And if you have any questions about whether or not your organization has received that, please reach out and we can do a search for you and let you know. We provide all the applications to the Board of Commissioners and the mayor for their review. And we'll also be providing them with all of the reports for past awardees. So if you were awarded a grant in 2022 or 2023, we'll be providing your interim and final reports to the commissioners as well. So if you have any questions about whether you have outstanding reports or how to get those in, please reach out to us and we'll let you know. And then finally, the communication regarding whether or not your application has been awarded or declined will come from our office, as well as any notifications about reports and the timing of the check. And then what does the Board of Commissioners do? So the Board of Commissioners will serve as the selection committee. They will receive all the applications and review all the application materials and reports. They designate in writing how they wish to allocate the funds that have been distributed to them. And then they actually vote on the final awards per organization. So they make all of those final decisions. Had a couple of really good questions come through the chat. So how will you know if you've received the grants? Well, one way is that Board of Commissioners meeting is a public meeting, so you can always tune in and listen. We will send an email to all of the applicants, whether they've been awarded or declined, usually within 1 to 2 weeks after the decisions are made, and we'll run through a timeline slide here in a little bit. So you'll receive an email, and then when you log back into your application portal, you'll see there as well if you've been awarded or declined, and if you've been awarded the award amount. Okay, so some important dates. Today, the application is open and live, and we'll show you where the link is in a couple slides here. The deadline is April 19th. All applications must be submitted by 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. We will have people in our office right up until 5 o'clock. So if you encounter any technical issues or have any last minute questions, please reach out and let us know. Once your application is successfully submitted, you will receive an automated email saying, congratulations, you submitted your application. So if you don't receive that email, please double check that you've completed everything and it's been submitted. The Community Foundation and the Board of Commissioners will work together on our review processes in May and June, and then June 27th is that meeting where the commission will actually approve those grant awards. All of our award notifications will go out sometime in mid-July. Again, those all come out via email, and if you apply, you'll receive an email notification if you've been awarded or if you've been declined. So our application is available online. It's on our website at growyourgiving.org/grant. The name is Unified Government Hollywood Casino Fund. You will submit through our online application system, which is called SurveyMonkey Apply. If your organization is not registered for an account, you can click a register button to get started. It will ask you for some very basic questions, your name, your email address, and the name of your organization. If you choose to register for an account, just keep in mind you might want to pick a generic email address that other people in your office can use so that if you were to be on vacation, someone else could get in there. You can also add additional people from your organization onto that account as users so that multiple people can have access to the application. And of course, if you have any technical questions along the way, such as do we already have an account, or how do I add this person, or I'm in there but I can't find the application, please reach out to our team. The email address is grants@growyourgiving.org. and our phone number is 816-627-3452. So here is a screenshot of what you'll see when you go to the grant opportunity page. There is all the information we've provided today. There'll be a link later to the recording for this webinar. And then you'll see that login to apply blue button. If you don't have an account, if your organization doesn't have an account, skip up to that register button and then return to this page in order to apply. So it's 2 steps if you do not have an account. First you register and then you jump back to the login to apply button. If you used our system before, either for the Unified Government Opportunity or for something else, maybe you used it last year for this grant, maybe you've used it for a different grant through our organization, then you should be able to just log in to apply. Okay, so changes in 2024. Not major changes to the application. So if you've applied in the past, it will look very similar. We no longer ask you in the application if you've been a past awardee of the Hollywood Casino Grant. We're going to go ahead and pull that data and send it directly to the commissioners and the mayor with copies of past reports from 2022 and 2023. Again, if you are unsure if you've completed those reports, or maybe there's been some changes in your organization and you're unsure if you've received this grant in the past, please reach out to us and we can let you know. In the past, we've had a very specific project budget form that needed to be used for this grant application. That is no longer the case. So you'll be asked to upload a project budget of your own. It could be something that you have internally in your organization. It could be on a Word document or Excel, whatever makes sense for you. You must still show the revenue and expenses for this project. And we do have some budget narrative questions to answer as well that are in the application itself. And then we used to have very specific requirements for the information you needed to provide on your board of directors, things like where they were employed and demographic information. We removed all that. Now we just ask that you upload a list of your board of directors. Again, this could be something you already have created at your organization or just a simple Word doc with their names and roles on the board. So just a few helpful tips. Obviously read the grant guidelines before you start the application, just to make sure that the project and program that you have in mind is going to be a good fit. It is very rare that an organization will actually receive the full amount requested. So just keep that in mind as you create your budget and your proposal. You might be awarded some of these funds, but not all of them. Make sure that you're up to date on all of the reporting requirements. The commissioners are keen to look at those reports. And so if you have any question about whether or not you've completed them, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Additional information and items are not passed on to the commission. So if you add, letters of support from community members, pictures, links to videos, links to Facebook pages, those are all great resources, but we don't have the capacity to bundle that all up and send it to the commission. Again, they'll be looking at probably 90 to 100 applications. So we ask that you just complete the information that is asked for in the narrative. We cannot tell you at the Community Foundation if you are likely to be funded or not. We can simply tell you if you've completed the application, if you are eligible based on the requirements that are available on the website. However, you are free to reach out to any commissioners or mayors that you have a relationship with to discuss your application proposal. So here are all of the important information. So my contact information, we've got the contact information for our technical assistance team. Jamie Musel's on this call and has been answering questions in the chat. The Healthy Communities Wyandotte website, and then the Wyandotte County Comprehensive Plan. And from there, I will open it up to any questions. All right, I can see a few in the Q&A that we are still responding to. I've seen a few folks ask, do you have to have a physical office in Wyandotte County? You do not. You just need to be able to demonstrate that you are serving the residents of Wyandotte County. And I'm just going to pause on that page that had our contact information. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if I can go back in the slides. Crystal, I might need you to help me go back one.
Okay, I think
Thank you. Oh, is Angel controlling it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yep, so here's our contact information. And this whole presentation will be available on our website, the recording, and we'll also upload the PDF of the PowerPoint so you can review it. We've gotten a couple of questions about the focus of the grant. So healthy food and physical activity. You know, those have generally been a focus area. We've also seen things like community engagement, youth engagement as being focuses of this grant. You know, access to medical care, medical support. Angel, if you have any others to throw out there as sort of general things that folks have applied for in the past.
I think you pretty well covered it with those topics.
Mm-hmm. We have one question about the fiscal agent. So should the application be made by the fiscal agent? You know, that we'll really let you work that out with your fiscal agent, who's the best person to actually submit the application. But you will have to use their employer identification number, their EIN tax ID, in order to register with the site. And you will have to upload, as we discussed, a fiscal sponsorship agreement. I think it's helpful throughout the application process to make it really clear what is the organization or agency that will be performing the work. So if that's you and not the 501c3 charity, just to make sure that's clear throughout the application form that you are the entity that will be performing the activities and your fiscal sponsor is the entity that will be accepting the grant funds and monitoring their use. And if you have any questions, please reach out, especially if you get into the application and it's not clear who you should list where. Someone asked for a little bit more information on general operating expenses. So yes, we generally do not see awards made for general operating expenses unless you are applying for general operating in order to expand your program or project footprint. So maybe you are looking to expand the number of people that you can reach through your program, and that's going to require you to increase your general operating expenses. Maybe you are planning on providing additional services to the folks you are already serving, and that's going to require a larger general operating budget. But if it's, you know, apples to apples, we're just looking for somebody to provide the same amount of funding that we've typically secured in the past for the same activities and programs. Those have typically not been supported by this fund. And someone has asked, is there any different things that a first-time applicant needs to provide? Nope, it's the same application for everyone. Same process. So if you've received this grant every year for the past, you know, 2 or 3 years, you're filling out the same application, same documentation. as anyone else who is starting fresh for the first time today. We will be sharing the presentation, so you can enjoy listening to this all over again at your leisure, as well as reviewing the PowerPoint slides. And a lot of the information is duplicated across the landing page on our website, across the UG website page. So hopefully you'll be able to find the information you need fairly quickly. Again, I see a few very specific questions about people's programs and their relationships with their fiscal sponsors. If we don't answer all of those today, please feel free to reach out to our grants@growyourgiving.org email address, and we can look into those a little bit more closely if it's something very specific. Someone asked if they could see the interim and final report that would be required. Please send us an email and we'll send that to you. It's not something that we can link to real easily because it ends up being in your application portal specific for your grant. But it's something we can send out via email. So if it's something you'd like to see before you apply, we'll be happy to send that. And if we are able to figure out a way to link it, I'll make a note. We'll try to get that on the website if we can. But in the short term, if you wouldn't mind just sending us an email at that grants@growyourgiving.org.
Are there any other questions? And Sarah or Crystal, you might have to. I can't see the chat, but just offering it up once more if there's any more questions.
I'll take another look too.
I see we have one more question about focus or guidelines for the type of programs approved. I think we've answered that in a couple of different ways, but I would again just encourage you to look back at the that Healthy Communities Wyandotte report and the comprehensive plan. I think anything that kind of ties into the types of activities outlined there would be approved, again, focusing on things that make people's lives healthier in Wyandotte County. Someone asked about serving folks outside Wyandotte County. This grant would need to be focused directly on those folks that are served who are residents of Wyandotte County. So we don't need to know the particulars of those folks that are outside of Wyandotte County. Just that, how this particular grant award would impact those that are living in Wyandotte County, how you would be able to track that separate from folks that are living in other parts of the metro. All right, I think we got everybody, all the good questions. So like we said, please reach out if you have additional questions. If you get into the application and anything doesn't appear to be working quite the way you thought it should, or you have additional questions from either a technical side or just a program and guidelines side, I will tell you all technical issues happen at 4:30 on the day of the deadline. So please reach out to us as soon as you can. If anything looks a little suspect, then we'll get that resolved for you as soon as possible.
And I'll also just to remind everyone that this recording will be available on the UG YouTube channel by the end of today, as well as posted on our website as well.
Great. Well, I think that wraps up our webinar this year, and appreciate everybody jumping on and taking the time, and look forward to working through this process.